This right here is our rescue plane for our Hardcore Career Mode series in Stormworks. It actually is a bit of a workhorse. It can do a bunch of missions that we've been needing to do, and it's done them pretty well. However, I do think it's time for an upgrade, so let's go ahead and start building a brand new aircraft that is maybe a little bit bigger than this. Let's get to it. Alright, I have literally no idea how I'm gonna go about doing this, but I think I want it to look like a boat to begin with. And then we obviously build a plane on top of that. So let's go ahead and build these guys down like so. Go ahead and zoom this backwards. That seems fine. And then I guess we need to do the nose, which is a bit odd, possibly. But we're going to go ahead and do this. I'm going to go ahead and do this. And then we're going to build it back over from there. So chuck that guy into there. We'll go ahead and shove one of these guys on. Possibly even two of those. And then zoom it backwards from there. Okay, I mean, so far that feels a bit weird, and it is. There it is, a bit weird. Maybe if we chuck one more of these on, the cockpit can actually start right here. That would be pretty good, and then maybe that will be fine. Let's get ourselves some windows, chuck those on there to begin with. There's one window, and then I guess we can build the rest of it behind that. But what we are going to have to do is add windows next. So, shove these guys on here. We're going to go with 1x2s. I'm going to chuck that on there first. So there's one, there's two, and I might even do three. Okay, I feel like that looks pretty good. From there, we're going to go ahead and build this backwards. However, we are going to do it like this. There we go. So on the inside, we can actually step backwards just fine. We're then going to zoom this backwards in pretty much a straight line to there-ish. Okay, so far so good. Okay, that looks like a very interesting shape to me, and it might actually work. So, let's go ahead and start building the rest of this in, and maybe it will work. Who knows? Also, just a side note, because I want this to look like a boat sort of on the bottom to begin with, we're actually going to go with some 1x2s, well, actually 1xs to begin with, and then we're going to go with 2xs afterwards. What that means is we have that little, like, weird bulge thingamabobby on the front, and I would say that looks pretty good, to be honest. Yeah, so we have this little bump on the bottom. That's cool. I might have moved on a little bit quicker than I thought I was, but there you go. A little bit of a fuselage going on right now, which I think looks pretty sick. The thing is, I need to go ahead and build the back of this now, so that it also looks quite nice. And then we need to figure out wings and stuff like that. So, yeah, good luck me, I guess. And kapow! There we go. I know a lot of you guys want to see, like, the building of things like this, and honestly, I would like to show you guys the buildings of things like this. However, I find it so much harder to build whilst talking than I realized. I used to do it all the time, but now that I think about it, I think building without talking sometimes actually is kind of useful. But anyway, this is what I've got right now. We've obviously got a fuselage. We've got ourselves the cockpit right here, which is still a little bit ugly, even though I did it without talking. And we've obviously got the rear of it right here. What I'm going to do really quickly is add some rope anchors, because I know, and you probably know, I would obviously forget these things if I just continued straight away. So chuck those guys in there like that. We're all good. Okay, does it float? The answer is probably, as long as I've filled in all the holes. Although, it will tip over. Yes. There we go. Okay, interesting. What I want to do next is actually change the color of the entire aircraft to be very close to white, but not quite white. So, where is white on this spectrum? All the way at the end like that. Okay, if I go ahead and introduce a bunch of colors like this, bam, there we go. Almost white. Sure. You know, I'm also going to actually add a red ribbon round here. There we go. We're going to go with 3 blocks wide, I guess. I think that looks pretty good to me. Let's continue it around the bottom sides. There we go. And that's all good. Once we get to the back, we'll change things up back here as well. But for now, this is fine. Although it looks a bit weird. Okay, extra windows have been added, as you can see. Let's go ahead and get some weight, and we'll chuck it in the bottom, and then maybe everything will be okay. Who knows? I'm actually just going to do a thin line down the center like this, and we'll see what happens. Obviously, it's only a tiny bit of weight, so maybe it won't fix things, but maybe it will. Alright, that's not actually too bad. That's not too bad at all. Ooh, interesting. Very interesting. Okay, so what I want to do next is actually add a bit of a floor in here, and this floor is going to be in because Well, I want to add, well, I want the sides to be able to be open, if that makes sense. So let's say this was a door or something. I want it to be able to open up, maybe. I don't know if that's going to work, but let's go ahead and just seal this off to the back end. There we go. I'm going to do a very similar thing in the front end as well. I am going to delete this guy. We're going to chuck those in. Going to delete all of these guys. And I'm actually going to put a hole in the top and see what happens next. Okay. So it should be sealed on the bottom, but not sealed on the top. Oh, it's already tipping over. Oh no. Oh no, that's not great. But what I can do is add some control surfaces really quickly, and maybe then it will actually be fine. So 1, 2, 3 right there, 1, 2, 3 right here. I've accidentally added all this to the back, so let's get rid of these. There we go, and I will actually add like 2 right there as well. Okay, spawning in again, let's see. Are we good? We are sort of good, actually. There is a bit of water in the back, so we need to sort out the balance on this. But that's okay, I think. I don't know whether I can change this to make it look better or worse, but like, let's see what this does. So if I attach that onto there and I do this, does that look nicer than this? Maybe. I think it does, actually. I'm gonna keep it like that. That looks better. Maybe. Okay, it's time to add the struts for the wings. So we've gone 4 back from here. We are going to go 4 forwards from here. There we go. Let's go ahead and chuck these guys into there and there. And then if I do this, I don't know how many up we're going to go, but let's go with that for now. I think that'll work. Maybe. Right, what I'm going to do next is add the pontoon. The struts, I don't know what to call this thing, for the top of the aircraft. So let's do it. We're going to go ahead and chuck this guy here. We're going to chuck that guy there. Zoom these guys together and then build it up, I guess. Yeah, so let's do this one like this. Here we go. Chuck that guy into there and do this. Actually, I want it to go inwards. Aha, there we go. We're then going to go ahead and chuck this guy on there next. Like that. There we go. And kapow. And then I guess we need to just zoom it backwards. Okay, so far, I think. So far, I think so good. But maybe not. Who knows? Who knows? Alright, check that onto there. Go ahead and zoom this up like this. And we are good to go. The thing is, these pieces are actually not quite right. So we're going to do this. And then they are correct, I think. Yeah. Oh, would you look at that? We've added a wing. Yes, we have indeed. It's a little bit of a weird looking wing, but it is what it is. And I think it will work out quite nicely. What we need to do next is figure out where we can put thingamabobbies. Yeah, that's right, where we can put thingamabobbies. Engines. We're going to need to put engines on here, obviously. And then I guess we can maybe fly. I don't really know. Okay, so whereabouts should the engine actually go? Well, we need to try and figure that out. So let's go to props really quickly. Rotor end light, I think, is what we need. And I think around here is actually where it should go. So if I do this, we bring it out a little bit like so. And then we chuck the rotor on there. This is rotor light, not rotor end. Hold on. Bosh that onto there like that. Go ahead and make this super big. There we go. I think that's kind of where we want it to be. Yes! Or actually, maybe one further out. Yeah, I'm thinking maybe here. Alright, so delete these guys. There we go. Shove one of these guys back into there like that. Go ahead and paint it again. Bosh. And then go ahead and do this. 1, 2. Well, actually, delete this guy, this guy, this guy. Do this. Alright, awesome. Go ahead and build this up. There we go. Shove that into there, that into there, that into there. And this into here and here. And then all we need to do is bring it forwards, shove one of these guys on here again, probably this way around, and then do this. Aha! There we go, and aha! Alright, spawn it in. What does that look like? Pretty crazy, to be honest. I do need to see if they can spin without any issues, though. So what I'm going to do is change this to be neutral, change this one to be neutral as well. We're then going to delete this guy on both sides, go to motors, and all we have to do is shove it on there. Get ourselves a number. Yes, we do. Shove this onto here in the center somewhere. That'll do. Connect that to here. Connect it to there. Go ahead and make it 1. and then see what happens. Oh, we also need a battery real quick as well. Hold on. Shove that into there. Connect the battery straight to this guy and this guy. And here we go. Alright, so if it doesn't absolutely destroy itself, we are good to go. Yeah. Alright, I like it. I like the way it looks. Good. This is actually based off a real-life plane, so if you guys know what I'm taking inspiration from, let me know in the comments down below. It'll be interesting to see which of you guys know what plane it is based on. And which of you guys don't know what it's based on, maybe. Anyway, what I want to do next, really quickly, before I do anything with this, is I actually want to add some pontoons. I think it's kind of interesting, and also very useful to add pontoons, so let's do that next. I'll bring this forwards by 2. I'm going to go ahead and drop that. Actually, you know what? Bring it down like this. There we go. We'll chuck this guy on the end. We'll get one of these guys. We'll put that on the end as well. And then we'll make it go backwards, kind of like this. There we go. Delete that guy. Chuck it backwards like so. And then maybe raise it up with this guy. Alright, delete that one and that one. Shove that up like this. There we go. And then I guess we'll go ahead and bring this backwards by 2. Chuck this down by 1. And I think that'll be it. So we attach these guys together like so. Alright, that works. Maybe on the back end, we can chuck a rudder. That could be very interesting, actually. Okay, so do that like that. Go to the other end. Do this like this. There we go. And that's fine. Okay, there we go. Some huge pontoons have been added. And I don't know if I like them or not. But to be totally honest with you guys, they're kind of necessary anyway. So we're just going to leave them there. I'm also not going to have them fold up, which is something that I could do. But I just don't want them to fold up. We're going to leave them down, which I actually think is fine. So I'm happy with it. I actually am. What I want to do next is add some ropes across, because I think that could be kind of cool. And then maybe a rope from there to here somewhere, because I think that would be cool. And I don't really know where to go from there. I still don't really have a way of getting in and out of this thing, so maybe we need to figure that out next. That will do me, I think. I know it looks a bit weird, but sure, we're going to go with those for now. As for the rest of the aircraft, I actually think it's sitting in the water quite nicely. Everything looks like it would be fine. I kind of want its butt to open, which makes no sense whatsoever, but kind of would be kind of cool if this bit flipped up. So I think that's what we're going to do next. Let's add some hinges on the top and make this bit flip open. Okay, so let's go ahead and grab this from wherever we need to grab it from, which I believe is here, all the way across to there, all the way down to, is it one further? One further, there we go. What we're then going to do is copy and paste it, or cut and paste it, there we go. We're then going to go to the other side, and hopefully we can do the same. Here we go, so cut it and paste it, there we go, nice. So this side should open, and this side should open, very good. We're then going to delete these two right here, and these two right here. We'll get ourselves some pivots, and hopefully this will be fine, maybe. So chuck that on there like that. Go ahead and turn this around. Chuck that on there like that, very good. Merge this guy with this guy, that guy with that guy, this one with this one, and that one with that one. There we go. What we're then going to do is get ourselves some switch boxes, because we are going to need them. They're going to go down here, just like this. There we go, on both sides. And we're going to delete, I don't know, something right here, which allows us to put a button directly in the side. And I guess it's going to be a two-sided button. There we go. Alright, chuck that there, grab this, attach it to there. Do that one to there. Connect this guy up to here and here. And then this one to here and here. What we're then going to do is set this to on value 1. On value 1, and I think that'll be fine. Yeah, I'm pretty sure anyway. Anyway, now that we've done that, let's go ahead and change the interior to look a little bit nicer by just doing this. There we go. There we go, except that piece. And I guess there we go. Alright, good. That's pretty nice, I think. Uh-oh, it got pushed around straight away as soon as I spawned it in, but if I go down here and I push that button, please work. Yes! That actually opens up just as much as I kind of wanted it to, and that's good. Obviously, water does come in if it's very wavy, but it is what it is. So, yeah. Alright, what I should do next is obviously seal up these areas to look a little bit nicer, paint them so that they do actually look nicer, and then go from there, maybe. Alright, doors are in, and now it's time for the engines to actually work. So, let's go ahead and actually do that, shall we? Clutch is going to go straight onto there. We're going to delete these little bits right here real quick. There we go. I'm also going to delete the corners and the extra bits next to the corners, because if I go to get this color and we go to here, we can actually grab these guys, chuck them on there like that, and we get ourselves nicer looking engine bits. Nicer looking engine bits, exactly. There we go, so that could go there, that could go there, and that could go there. Obviously, that is fine. Alright, cool. So, chuck that backwards, at least to there. Delete these guys, and these guys. Fill this in again to... Ooh. Whoa! Okay, that's kind of annoying. That's really annoying because, well, I don't want to delete these, but I might have to. Yeah, alright, cool. Well, grab this, chuck it onto there, chuck it onto there, and then maybe we can sort this out somehow? I don't know how I'm going to do that. It sort of merges in with it, that's really weird. But maybe it'll be fine, who knows? Alright, chuck that onto there, do maybe one of those, there we go. Do the same on this side, connect these guys together, delete all of these. Delete that one and that one, that one and that one. These guys, and fill this all in together. There we go. Yeah, I can't have the sides being all different to everything else, so I gotta do that. Let's delete all of these. Chuck that up there. Chuck this up here. And I guess at the back, we can just go ahead and seal that off. Alright, there's 1, 2, 3. Delete these guys. There we go. Delete these two. Okay. And these two. Alright, hopefully that's enough deleting. Maybe. I don't know. Still looks pretty weird to me. But then we can actually paint the bottom side, as you can see. We can chuck this guy onto the back of there like that. Do that one onto there. Chuck this guy into here. And seal it all together. There we go. Alright, that sort of works, actually. Yeah. Alright, I don't see why not. What we then can do is all of these guys. I could chuck this guy onto the rear, just like this. That guy onto the rear of there. That guy onto there. That guy onto there. And keep it going. There we go. Alright, cool. So delete these pieces. Chuck this one onto here. Send that all the way backwards. Send this one as well. And I guess the engines can just be like this. I don't see why not. It does look a little bit bad. Not as good as I would hope for, but it's not terrible. Alright, well anyway, what we need to do now is get ourselves engine stuff again, so let's go ahead and do that. So we need some crankshafts. We're going to go with 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. That'll do. Alright, we've got 8 in there. Let's go ahead and put this belt drive on the end. That's fine. We're going to add cylinders all around pretty much all of these. So we're going to go with 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Okay. 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. We're going to have 12. There we go. 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18. Okay, 18. 19. Hold on. 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 24? Is 24 what we're going to go with? I think so. 24 cylinders. Sure. I'm going to shove a temperature sensor directly on the front. We're actually going to go ahead and add 4 more cylinders because they can fit. And that means we've now got, whoa, 28. Okay, interesting. What I'm then going to do is actually connect them all together using these guys. And that should be fine too. So chuck that into there. One there, one there, one there, and one there. Alright, sure. That looks fine. Okay, engine in, so now it's time for the exhaust. I actually really want the exhaust to come out the sides and then go backwards down the side of the engine. Generally it works. So let's go to pipe. There we go. We're gonna have to get a pipe to shove it straight in the side of here. There we go. Excellent. Do it on the other side as well. Honestly, I don't really need to do it on both sides, but we're gonna anyway. We're then gonna chuck these guys on here and here. And then we're going to shove an exhaust actually straight on the back of that. Yeah, so that's going to go like this. Although actually, I kind of want it to go back here. So, if we are going to put it back there, how about we get ourselves some like catalytic converters and maybe that will be fine. Maybe 3 of these. There we go. 1, 2, 3. Excellent. Chuck that on there. Chuck that on there. That looks okay, I think. Alright, air supply is next. We're just going to go ahead and chuck it there and up through the top of the engine. That should be fine. So, fluid ports. Let's go ahead and chuck that directly on the top. And there we go. Alright, that's kind of it. So, we've got the exhaust. We've got our air. We now need some fuel supply, which I think I could put into the actual wing. So, let's do that next. If I type in engine again, we can find the fuel thingamabobby right here. Chuck that on the side. It should come out to here, and then we can just put it into the wing? I don't know. It feels weird, but yes, we could probably do that. Especially if I grab this yellow, we chuck it on the underside like this, and I just do that. There we go. And then we just put a fluid port directly onto here. Alright, here we go. Fluid port, yes. Let's do it in white for now. And there we go. So, if I put fuel in the actual wings, then maybe that's where the fuel can go. Yeah, it actually doesn't seem too bad to do that. Maybe delete this guy on the bottom. And then, because this is actually empty, I'm going to go ahead and just clear out the inside of this piece. There we go. And I'm going to put the fluid thingamabobbies in here. So a meter and also a spawner. There we go. Okay, right, good. Chuck that guy back on the top. And if I spawn this in, we should now have fuel in between the engines. What would be nice though is if I could have the rest of the wing be fuel too. So, how do I go about doing that? Well, I don't really know. This doesn't really allow us to go around the back end. I do feel like there could be a way though. So if I deleted like these pieces and I sent it like this all the way across, and then this piece all the way across as well. It doesn't actually have to go all the way across, to be fair. And then we just grab these guys, we shove them on here like this, we zoom it this way. There we go. So now it's the entire wing. Almost. So if it goes up there, yeah, no, it's the entire wing that allows us to have fuel. Yeah. Alright, cool. What I'm going to do before we do anything else is change it to water, just to see how it acts with all of that fuel up there. It seems fine. Okay, what am I going to do next? Well, what I am going to try and do is add coolant, because we are going to need coolant on this aircraft. So we're going to chuck that in there somewhere, possibly towards the rear. It'd be nice if I could go out through the bottom, but then that deletes this section. Ugh, gross. What am I even saying? Okay, so let's get ourselves a pump really quickly. Yes, chuck that into there like that. Obviously, this is much larger than the pump we would have if we just used the engine one. But that's fine. So now we go to pipe, and we chuck it on here going downwards. That's fine. We're then going to get ourselves a heat thingamabobby, a radiator. That's correct. We're going to chuck that on there like this. We then need to send it back on this side, apparently. So if I go to pipes again, we can chuck this backwards like this. And then, I guess if I get rid of one cylinder, we might be able to do that. But the fuel is right here. So actually, the idea is, we delete that guy, we grab one of these again. Oh, we can't even put it on there the way that I want to. I want to put it on this way, but I can't. Ooh. Interesting. Turns out there is actually a way to just send it all the way around the outside. So that is exactly what we are gonna do. Up here, turn it so it goes this way. We're gonna turn it again once it gets to this. I can't even see. Once it gets to this side, there we go. Send it this way. Once it gets to there, we're gonna go ahead and chuck it down. And once it gets to here, we are gonna chuck it inwards. There we go. Alright, so now if I attach it all together with pipes, we should be good. Alright, there we go. Excellent. Connect that onto there. We need an angled pipe right here. There we go. It goes around the sides, around the back. We go with 1, 2. Hopefully that's correct. It looks like it is. It goes down, then it goes this way into there. Alright, we now have engine cooling. Good. Alright, that wasn't actually too bad. Zoom these guys into here, that's all fine, and I'm happy with it. So we got fuel, we got exhaust, we got coolant, we got air. That's all we need. Alright, delete these guys again, because this is where our engine controller is going to go, so that if it ever breaks, well, we can fix it from the outside. That seems like a good idea. Okay, so I've got everything somewhat sorted, so the engines will actually spool up at this point and maybe work, which would be good. But what I need to do is add a bunch of stuff into here to make it either look nice or work nice. So, artificial horizon, yep, that is one of the things we need. Chuck that directly in the center, just like so. We're then going to get ourselves 2 dials. One is going to be for fuel, the other is going to be for speed. I know that's not the most important things. Well, actually, it's not necessarily the worst things, but you know, speed right here, fuel on this side. We're going to have altitude somewhere, battery somewhere, etc, etc. So yeah, for now this is fine. We'll connect those down to there if we need them, because, you know, backlights. Anyway, next thing is fuel. Fuel goes into here. Speed, we need to get ourselves a speedo. So let's go ahead and get ourselves a linear speed sensor. Chuck that onto there. Connect this guy up to here. Excellent. And then we need to do everything else. So I'm actually thinking we put the stuff just in the center right here. We've obviously got 2 engines, so we're going to need the RPS and the temperature in the fuel. No, the RPS, the temperature, etc. from the actual engines. So that'll be in here as well. Yeah, let me go ahead and work on the cockpit for a little bit, and maybe it'll look nicer than normal ones that I make. Okay, I think it might be time to actually give this thing a go. I've added flags because I thought it was kind of cool. We got the Union Jack and we got the Frantic flag. We've then got a rope from there to there. I just thought that was cool. And we've gone ahead and added this thing because why not? Anyway, the way in and out of this is by this door right here on the back. There does appear to be some water sometimes getting into the back, which is kind of annoying. And also getting in and out can be annoying unless we use the bed, so we might have to fix that. Anyway, run to the front, let's go ahead and start our engines, which is behind us, which is, again, a little bit annoying, bit of a dumb move. But there we go, they should start. If we throttle them up, we can do it right here. And we are moving. Okay, I think we need a gearbox. In fact, we definitely do need a gearbox. So, let's go ahead and add a gearbox now, and then we can probably fly this thing. Okay, let's go ahead and give this a go then, and see what happens, I guess. I've added a gearbox now, so realistically, the engines are a bit stronger, but I think they might have to be stronger than this. Alright, here we go, come on! We are struggling to turn when we're in the water, but I think when we're in the air, we'll be fine. So, all we gotta do is get in the air, and unfortunately, I still don't think we're quite powerful enough, but maybe we are. Uh-oh, I'm in the sky! It's working! Nice. Okay, so, I can't really see anything out of this cockpit. Landing, taking off, etc. Might be a little bit more difficult with this than I originally thought. Anyway, we currently have a mission to transport someone down there. I think it might be worth trying to actually fly down there. I know it's not worth doing, but it might be worth attempting to do anyway. So, set our altitude hold to 155. That is not working. That is not working at all. It's like increasing our altitude to 1,000,000. Okay, so that's not great. What about this? Does this work? I don't know. Distance. As long as the distance starts going down, I think it's going to start working. Okay, our altitude, I need to worry about myself. Okay, is the distance going down loads now? Yes, it is. Okay, fine. Okay, we are currently circling right now because I believe we are, well, we're pretty much where we need to be. Unfortunately, though, we flew over it, and now we're turning around and just doing big circles, which is very, very interesting. I think I need to land at the refinery, which I do, which is behind me? Actually, directly underneath me. So, let's go ahead and turn off the autopilot, and let's go ahead and find the refinery and then land there. Obviously, that right there is the creative island, which is here. So the refinery is currently back and right. Let's go ahead and turn ourselves around. There it is. Okay, so let's go ahead and slow down a bit. And we'll actually land off to the side, because I don't have a reverse gear right now. Although I think I do have a reverse collective, if I need to. But that's not the point. Anyway, we're landed. Very good. I'm going to turn off both engines. And what I want to do real quick is check the temperature. Oh, okay. Turns out our cooling situation is not very good. But let's go ahead and grab the dude. We'll bring him on board. And then we'll sit here for a bit while it cools down a bit. I think that looks pretty good, to be honest. It's actually very, like, flat in the water as well, which is quite nice. And I guess we can actually get onto it by going through here, which also works. Yeah, would you look at that? Obviously, water does get in here, which is not the best, but it's still fine, I'm sure. Oh, and the temperature thing definitely is a problem. I need to get that sorted too. We're down to 70 degrees, so let's go ahead and turn on the engines and try and get out of here. Realistically, I just need to get some... Whoa. Whoa. I need to get somewhere we can actually fix this thing up. So I'm trying to reverse right now. Which is sort of working, I guess. But we need to throttle up and just go. So let's take off. There we go. Straight in the air. Excellent. Okay, let's go ahead and pin this so we stay in the sky. And then we need to set the destination, which is gonna be all the way up here. I mean, realistically, I don't actually need to drop off the guy, because this is a test. In fact, this is a test. So actually, let's go ahead and fly straight back home, back to here, and we can sort it out once we get there. All right, auto pilto, put it on. We're going. Since I'm not actually saving this man, I'm actually gonna drop him off real quick where he wants to go. Right, okay, good, dropped off, excellent. He is delivered. Anyway, what I need to do now is fly back before we set on fire. So hopefully we are almost home. 5 kilometers away? Yeah, we'll get there. Well, that really didn't take very long, and also, you might be thinking, you're coming at this from a very weird angle. No, it's fine, don't you worry, because, well, if I jump out my seat, 3, 2, 1, pop! There we go, returned it to the workbench. Also, I am thinking the wingspan on this should probably be a bit longer, but I don't want to put the wings on pivots, so it's going to stay as is. Anywho, what I need to do is fix the altitude hold. Don't really know what's wrong with it right now, so let's figure that out. It's all there. It is actually all there. Okay. Yep, no idea what's wrong with it then. Never mind, I think I might know what's wrong with it. Anyway, what I need to do now is get some rope because, well, we might be doing something with some rope. Yeah. Don't ask me what it is because I don't think this is going to go very well, but let's go ahead and delete these guys. We'll go ahead and chuck some rope into there. And then I'm actually going to add... Oh, this is something that I forgot to add, actually. We're going to add a cable thingamabobby right here. There we go. Very nice. And that is for fixing up the electricity if we ever run out. Okay, push that into there. Then what we need to do is actually get ourselves a cable. Yes, we do. Delete these 3 right here. Chuck that in there. We are good to go. Okay, right. So... the mission that we've got right now is to actually save this really quickly. There we go. We're then going to spawn it in, and we are going to fly all the way out to here, where there is an ROV 30 meters underwater. Hopefully we can get that. Okay, oh, I haven't solved the cooling issues, actually. That is a problem. Like, that is actually a problem. I think I might have found the cooling problem issue. That's the pipe right there. That's the pipe on the bottom. And, well, the pipe on the top is clearly pointing the wrong direction. So let's delete that guy. There we go. And then replace it with this guy. Hopefully. Like this. There we go. All right, that should have solved everything. Now we can go try and do that mission. All right, the temperature is still rising pretty quickly, but it's only at 30 right now. I'm assuming that the water is going through the thingamabobbies, but there's no real way of me checking that out. because I can't actually get to the thingamabobbies. I might actually add some dials back here for the coolant temperature inside the radiators. I feel like that would make sense. Maybe. But anyway, we are 13,000 or 13 kilometers away from where we need to be, and we'll be there very soon. What is happening? It's just got extremely foggy. Okay, is that what I need to fly down to? How far away are we? Sorry, I have turned out the lights just because, well, I couldn't see anyway. Look at that. Ugh. Okay, we are pretty much there, so let's go ahead and land. Although I can't see, so landing might be an issue. I can't see anything. Oh, we've landed. Wait, have we? We almost landed? We've landed. There we go. Okay, how far away are we from it? We are close. All right, let's zoom forwards a little bit until we reach our destination. Yeah. Okay, it's time, guys. We've landed, obviously, and we are gonna be, well, going to get the thingamabobby. But the thingamabobby is in the water, back here somewhere? I swear I seen it. I could be wrong. It did say it was underwater, but actually, I don't think it is underwater. It was floating. There it is. There it is. I knew I seen it. Anyway, I'm gonna have to swim all the way out here, attach a rope onto it, and then I'm gonna try and drag it all the way to our aircraft, which is actually quite far away. But anyway, as long as the shark doesn't come and eat me, I think I should be able to do... What if I can't do this? What if I can't do it? Alright, attach that onto there. Let's go, go, go. Well, actually, we managed to swim it back, which means if I attach this under here, we should be able to just take off and fly and drop it off where it needs to go. So, okay. I don't know how much money we're going to get for a mission like this, but I'm hoping a decent amount. It's not going to be a decent amount. I know it's not, but we got to try. Anyway, let's go ahead and just drop this here. There we go. I am actually going to grab a new one of these. There we go, because I can. And then we're going to set the destination, which is down here. What's that? Oh, that's on fire now. Interesting. Well, I guess we could do that mission on the way back, but we're not going to. Alright, chuck that in there. Shove this on here. Turn the engines on. 1 and 2. Throttle all the way up, which we already have. That's our temperatures. Our temperatures are fine. And throttle up, and we'll just fly wherever we need to go. Easy peasy. Altitude is going, which means we are in the sky, which means we're towing the thing. Good. Okay, it's sort of delivery time. I don't know how this is going to work, though, so we're going to go ahead and disconnect that. I'm actually going to go ahead and disconnect this. We're going to fly in somewhat low so that it goes into the delivery point, and then we're going to fly home, which I don't know whether this is going to work, but here we go. Flying in low, lift. It didn't deliver. It did deliver 2,100. That is terrible. That is awful. Also, side note, this guy is still alive, and I really don't know how. That's the guy we chucked out earlier. He's alive. That's bizarre. Anywho, I'm trying to find out where I'm flying. I need to go this way. We need to go back to the dock. Okay, so, now that we're going back then, I want to come up with some other things that need adding to the aircraft. And one of those things is actually an anchor. I know that sounds bizarre, but yes, the aircraft needs an anchor. Okay, so where is the anchor gonna go? Well, I'm gonna try and shove an anchor in here. Might not be the best place for it, but it is what I'm gonna do. So, let's go ahead and build this down. Build these guys down as well, yes. And then I guess this piece right here. And then if I do that, we should be able to attach this guy into here like this. Okay, yeah, that works. But before we actually do anything with that, I'm going to go ahead and paint the entire interior of this in a dark grey color. There we go. We're then going to have this guy be a dark grey color as well. Chuck that into there, and that seems fine, I think. Alright, so now that we've got it in, I've added an anchor to the front end. We're now adding a knot gate onto here so that the anchor is always on, at least to begin with. That then goes into here. Yeah, that's fine. And then this goes to wherever we're going to control the anchor from, which I believe should be over here. So, let's go ahead and delete this guy, and this guy. We're going to add buttons for all of these. There we go. So we'll do it in this color, actually. So that, and that. We're going to have the anchor, anchor up there. There we go, good. We're going to have anchor down there, and we're going to have anchor on/off here. There we go. All right, connect the on/off to this piece. Connect the down onto down, and then the up onto up. And that should all work out fine. Maybe. There we go. Alright, cool. So the anchor will hopefully work. Let's go ahead and spawn it in. See if it automatically connects. I think my game just crashed. Okay, well, it did crash, and I've just restarted the game, and it has actually attached directly under the front, which is exactly where we needed it to be, which is good. So now, let's go inside and see if we can lower it down and attach it to the bottom of the ocean. So I'm going to go ahead and flip this up to begin with. We're going to get inside, close that up, run forwards, press this button, anchor on off, turn that off, down, turn it back on. As soon as you hear it again, turn it off again. I feel like it should have hit the floor by now? I don't know. Well, I didn't hear it, but let's go ahead and anchor up and see what happens. If we get dragged down a little bit, then... Yep, we're getting dragged down. That means it's attached to the seabed. Okay. Excellent. So it works. Then if we want to detach it, we can go ahead and anchor up. There we go. I feel like this is going to be a bit of a problem, this bit, but we'll see what happens. In fact, I probably won't see what happens because I can't see outside. I hope it's there. Let's just press... This? No? I don't know. That doesn't seem to be working. Alright, yeah, it's like stuck on the front, but it's the wrong way around. So maybe once we started flying, this would fly up and actually work. So, weirdly, I'm not actually that bothered by this being a problem. Yeah. Because it's not really an issue. Sort of. Like, it kind of is, but it kind of isn't. You know? I did just try and return it to the workbench, and it just sort of disappeared, so I don't know what's happened there. I'm hoping that as soon as I go to the workbench, it is there. Please? No. Really? Okay, I tried to do that thing where you just put random dots on it, and to be fair, on the hull, I think it's fine. Or the fuselage, I should say. But on the wing, I feel like it does look a little bit crazy and kind of ugly. But yeah. I might change the color of these, oh, you can't even see it when I put a light on it, but you know, it's dotty. Might change those. The rest of it though, completely fine. So, I think, at this point, I'm gonna end this video here for now. We ended up building this entire seaplane that works actually very well, and I'm really happy with it. So very soon in the future, we'll go ahead and use this thing to do a bunch of missions, and possibly more. I don't know. I don't know what else we could do with it. But for now, I'm going to go ahead and say thank you guys very much for watching. Hope you guys enjoyed, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Goodbye.